Jonah was a man of lines. Straight lines, clean lines, lines that met at precise angles. His world was a concrete jungle, a symphony of steel and glass, and he was the conductor, orchestrating each building into a harmonious masterpiece. He was an architect, a title that carried the weight of precision, of perfection. Yet, behind the sharp edges of his profession was a man softened by shadows, a heart walled off by grief. Riley, on the other hand, was a riot of color. Her world was a garden, a chaotic explosion of life where every hue and texture told a story. She was a florist, her hands stained with the earth's magic, her spirit as vibrant as the blooms she nurtured. Laughter was her language, and her infectious joy could brighten the dreariest day. But beneath the sunny exterior, she carried scars, delicate petals bruised by life's storms. Their paths converged at the city's newest project, a community garden, a green oasis in the urban concrete, a space for people to connect with nature and each other. Jonah, the architect, was tasked with designing the structure. Riley, the florist, with infusing it with life. It was a collision of order and chaos, of structure and spontaneity. Their first meeting was a dance of frustration. Jonah, meticulous in his planning, found Riley's free-flowing ideas to be a thorn in his side. Her laughter, which could fill a room, only served to highlight the starkness of his solitude. Riley, on the other hand, was baffled by his rigidity, his inability to see the beauty in a wildflower that had no place in his blueprints. Yet, as they worked side by side, a pattern began to emerge. Her passion for color and growth started to seep into the cracks of his stoic facade. The garden grew, and so did their friendship. They bickered over the placement of benches and the selection of flowers, but with each disagreement, they found common ground. They shared stories of their pasts, the reasons they had retreated into their work. Jonah spoke of a love lost to ambition, a heartache that had left him afraid to open up again. Riley spoke of relationships that had wilted under the pressure of expectations, leaving her gun-shy of romance. The days grew longer as the project neared completion. The air was thick with the scent of blossoming flowers and the promise of something new. Jonah noticed the way the sun caught Riley's hair, turning it into a halo of gold. Her laughter became music to his ears, a melody that soothed the ache of his lonely heart. And Riley? She saw the man behind the blueprints, the soul that yearned for warmth and connection. The tension between them grew as palpable as the humidity, a current of attraction that neither could ignore. One evening, as they stood in the heart of the garden, surrounded by the fruits of their labor, Jonah turned to Riley. His eyes searched hers, and for the first time, she saw vulnerability in the lines that had once been so sharp. He took a tentative step towards her, his hand reaching out, and she didn't flinch. Instead, she stepped closer, closing the space between them, allowing their hands to intertwine. It was a moment of surrender, a silent agreement that perhaps, amidst the chaos of life, they could find a place to bloom together. Their kiss was soft and sweet, like the petals of a blossom kissing the dew-soaked earth. It was a promise of what could be, a gentle reminder that love, like the garden they had created, required patience and care. The world around them faded as their hearts found a rhythm that seemed to have been waiting for this moment. The tension of their earlier clashes melted away, leaving only a warmth that spread through their bodies, a sensation as natural as the growth of the plants around them. Their relationship grew as steadily as the garden. They learned to balance their differences, to appreciate the contrast between the rigid lines of Jonah's world and the whimsical beauty of Riley's. He taught her the elegance of simplicity, the strength in a well-placed stone, and she taught him the magic of letting things grow wild, the beauty in the unplanned. They found joy in the small moments, in the way the sunset painted the petals of her flowers, in the quiet satisfaction of a job well done. But the city wasn't always kind. Gossip began to spread about the relationship between the aloof architect and the vibrant florist. The whispers grew louder, questioning whether their union was a strategic alliance or a genuine connection. The weight of judgment pressed down on them like a storm cloud, threatening to steal the sunshine that had blossomed between them. Yet, they stood firm, their roots entwined in the soil of their shared passion, ready to weather the storm. The community garden opening approached, and with it, the inevitable scrutiny. Riley's hands trembled as she arranged the final bouquet, her thoughts a jumble of fear and excitement. Jonah, ever the pillar of calm, took a deep breath and offered her a reassuring smile. "It's going to be perfect," he said, his voice a gentle breeze that steadied her. And together, they stepped out into the sunlight, ready to face the world and all its uncertainties, hand in hand. The event was a flurry of activity. Politicians and city officials mingled with the locals, all eager to see the transformation of the once bare plot of land. Riley's flowers were the talk of the town, their vibrancy a stark contrast to the gray suits that surrounded them. Jonah's structural designs complemented the floral beauty, creating a space that was both functional and awe-inspiring. As they walked the grounds, receiving praise and nods of approval, they felt a swell of pride. This was their love letter to the city, a testament to what could be achieved when two opposites found harmony. But the whispers didn't stop. The questions about their relationship grew more pointed, the insinuations more cruel. Riley's heart ached with every unkind word thrown their way. "What do they know?" she thought. "They don't see the love we've planted here." Yet, Jonah remained unfazed, his gaze never leaving hers, his grip on her hand never loosening. It was as if he had built a fortress around them, one made of steel and petals, unyielding in the face of doubt. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the garden in a warm glow, they found themselves alone among the blooms. The air was electric with anticipation, the silence between them speaking louder than any words. Jonah pulled her closer, his eyes searching hers for reassurance. "This is us, Riley," he murmured, "a garden in the city, growing against all odds." And with that, he kissed her, a declaration that was heard by no one but the flowers, a promise that their love was as steadfast as the structures he designed. The opening was a success, the garden a symbol of rebirth and unity. Yet, as the applause died down and the guests dispersed, the shadow of their personal challenges loomed larger than ever. The pressures of their careers, the whispers of the city, and their own fears of being hurt again began to take a toll. The project had been their sanctuary, a place where they could escape the world and build something beautiful together. Now, it was a reminder of the obstacles that lay ahead. Jonah knew he had to make a choice. He could either let the noise of the city drown out the whispers of his heart or fight for what he had found in the unlikeliest of places. And Riley, the girl who had taught him to appreciate the wildness of growth, had her own battle to face. Could she trust that love could flourish in the most controlled of environments? Their relationship was a delicate bud, tender and new, and the storm clouds of reality were gathering. Yet, as they stood in the heart of their creation, surrounded by the vibrant life they had brought forth, they realized that love was much like the garden they had cultivated. It required work, patience, and the willingness to face the storms together. And as they turned to each other, ready to tackle the world, the first drops of rain fell, a symbol of the challenges ahead, but also of the growth that would come with it. The months that followed were a whirlwind of deadlines and public appearances. Jonah found himself juggling his firm's demanding projects with the need to stand by Riley's side as she faced the scrutiny of the city's gossipmongers. Riley, in turn, had to navigate the fine line between her blossoming relationship and her own flourishing business. They grew stronger together, each learning to appreciate the other's strengths and supporting each other through the storms of criticism and doubt. One evening, as they took refuge from the rain in a cozy coffee shop, Riley looked up at Jonah with a determination in her eyes that made his heart swell. "Let's prove them wrong," she said, her voice a soft yet fiery challenge. "Let's show them that love can grow anywhere, even in the concrete jungle you call home." Jonah felt a warmth spread through him, a warmth that had been missing for so long. He knew that with Riley, he could face anything. Together, they faced each challenge with a newfound resilience. They worked tirelessly to make the community garden a symbol of hope and connection, hosting workshops and events that brought people from all walks of life together. And as the seasons changed, so too did the garden, evolving with the love that nurtured it. The once stiff architect and the once wary florist became the heart of the community, a living example of the beauty that could arise from the most unlikely of pairings. But the world wasn't ready to let them go unscathed. The whispers grew louder, the pressure to conform more intense. Jonah's firm began to question his commitment to his work, and Riley felt the weight of her family's expectations. Yet, in the quiet moments, as they sat on a bench they had placed together, watching the sunset paint the sky, they found solace in their shared vision. Love was not a hindrance, but a source of strength, a force that could break down the walls they had built around their hearts. And so, they continued to grow, together and apart, each facing their own battles, yet always returning to the garden, to the place where they had first kissed. It became their sanctuary, a reminder that amidst the chaos, there was always room for beauty. They watched as the garden evolved, as the plants grew and changed, and they grew with it. Through the seasons of their love, they learned that like the flowers, they too could adapt, could bloom even in the harshest conditions. The story of Jonah and Riley became intertwined with the garden, a tale of two souls finding refuge in each other and in nature. The city watched as they faced each challenge with grace, their love a beacon in the concrete sprawl. And as the final petals of the year's last bloom fell to the ground, they knew that come spring, they would rise again, stronger, more vibrant, ready to face whatever the world had in store for them. For in the garden of their hearts, love had taken root, and it was there to stay. Winter brought its own trials. The cold winds of doubt whispered through the bare branches of the trees, echoing the chill that seeped into their relationship. The long hours at work, the strain of constant scrutiny, and the weight of their own fears began to test the bonds they had forged. Yet, in the quiet moments, when they could steal away to the garden, they found warmth in each other's embrace, a reprieve from the frost that threatened to claim them. One cold, moonlit night, Jonah took Riley to the garden, now a silent, sleeping form beneath a blanket of snow. He pulled a small velvet box from his pocket, his heart racing like the pulse of a seed beneath the frozen earth. He dropped to one knee, the snow crunching beneath him, and offered her the promise of forever. The ring glinted in the moonlight, a symbol of the warmth and color she had brought into his life. Riley's eyes filled with tears as she nodded, her voice a shaky whisper. "Yes, Jonah, I'll grow with you." The proposal was a declaration of war against the forces that sought to tear them apart. The city watched as they became engaged, their story a beacon of hope in the starkness of winter. But the battles were not over. Jonah faced increasing pressure from his firm. Riley's business grew more demanding, and the whispers grew to a roar. Yet, they remained steadfast, their love a bastion against the storm. As spring approached, the garden began to stir. The first buds appeared, tentative and hopeful, mirroring the tentative hope in their hearts. They worked side by side, planting new seeds, nurturing the growth that had been stunted by the harsh winter. Their love blossomed alongside the flowers, a testament to the enduring power of connection and care. The wedding was a celebration of their journey. The community they had brought together in the garden now gathered to witness their union. The arch they had built together, now adorned with Riley's flowers, framed the moment as they exchanged their vows. Their love was no longer a secret, but a living, breathing part of the city's tapestry. And as they stood before their friends, family, and the city that had tried to break them, they knew that they had built something more than just a garden. They had created a space where love could flourish, a testament to the possibility of beauty amidst the steel and stone. The sun broke through the clouds, casting a warm glow over the crowd, and in that moment, all the struggles and the whispers faded away. They were Jonah and Riley, the architect and the florist, two hearts entwined in a garden of their own making, ready to face the future hand in hand. The wedding was a riot of color, a reflection of the garden they had nurtured. The guests mingled among the blooming flowers, their laughter and chatter a sweet symphony of love and support. As they danced under the open sky, the stars twinkling above like a sprinkling of fairy dust, Jonah whispered in Riley's ear, "This is our masterpiece." And she smiled, her eyes shining with unshed tears, knowing that their love was indeed the greatest creation of all. The months that followed were a blur of happiness and hard work. Their days were filled with the sweet scent of blooming flowers and the gentle hum of city life. They faced each challenge with the same determination they had brought to the garden, finding solace in the quiet moments when they could simply be together. The whispers had not disappeared entirely, but they had become a background noise, a gentle reminder of the strength of their bond. And as the seasons changed once more, bringing with them the warm embrace of summer, they found themselves expecting a new addition to their family. The news filled them with a joy so profound it was almost overwhelming. They watched the garden grow lush and full, a mirror to the life growing within Riley. The baby would be born into a world of beauty and love, a testament to the power of two hearts that had found a way to bloom together. In the sweltering heat of July, their son was born, a tiny human who looked at them with wide, curious eyes. They named him Elliot, after the poet who had once written of the beauty found in the most unexpected of places. As they held him in their arms, surrounded by the vibrant blooms of the garden, they knew that their love had created something far more precious than any building or bouquet. The city watched as their family grew, as Jonah learned to balance his work with the demands of fatherhood, and Riley discovered that her green thumb had a new canvas in the form of a tiny human. The community garden continued to flourish, a living example of what could be achieved when love and passion were allowed to blossom without restraint. The whispers had turned to whispers of admiration, of hope, and of the enduring beauty of two souls that had found their place in the world. Through it all, the garden remained their sanctuary, a place where they could breathe in the sweet scent of life and remember the beginnings of their love. It was here that they would bring their son, teaching him the importance of growth, of patience, and of the beauty that could arise from the most unlikely of places. And as they watched him crawl among the flowers, they knew that their story was far from over. It was simply the beginning of a new chapter, one filled with the promise of a lifetime of love and growth, of roots entwined in the earth and hearts entwined in each other. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, consider subscribing to stay updated with our latest stories, give us a like if you want to see more, and drop a comment below to let us know your thoughts.